Hey everybody, Grant Miller here, Miami Community Newspaper with Misty Buck, the marketing guru of South Dade, not just South Dade, all over. We're going to talk about content, how to create it for, she's getting her Facebook lined up. So we're going to talk about Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, web pages, newsletters. This is what we're going to talk about, the importance of content. Like community newspapers, we have to have content for our newspapers, we have to have content for our Facebook, and it sometimes has to be different. All right, Misty, are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready. We're
okay,
good to go.
Go for it. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. So the thing with content that I thought this would be a great topic this week for this week's, well, normally Marketing Monday, right? But here we are on a Tuesday because of Labor Day. But anyhow, it's normally one of the things that people ask me the most often, or one of the things that people trip up on the most often in doing marketing on their own, is content. So knowing, we'll use social media as an example, what to post on there, right? So I know, okay, I have to post this many days, but then a lot of people get stuck, right? So, okay, I have a little bit of content, maybe it's a sale, maybe it's a video, quick video that I do, but then what? How do I take my blog and repurpose that? What do I write for my blog? How do I put content on my website? All those sorts of things. And content, by the way, can also include videos, photos, so different types of media. You can even repurpose reviews. We're talking all kinds of content today.
Okay. Content should relate to marketing, correct?
Yes. Well, it can, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a sales piece, by the way, in order for something to say, oh, buy me. Like, for instance, this is a perfect example. This interview right now, this segment that we're doing, is a piece of content. And I'm not saying sitting here and telling you to necessarily buy something. It's not necessarily a marketing piece to me. What this is more of an educational spot, right? So that can certainly count as a piece of content.
Well, to us, it's marketing. Because here we are marketing information. Hopefully people read the newspaper, people watch our newsletters or webpage. So it is marketing for us.
Okay. Right.
That's how we feel. To me, everything is marketing.
Well, I mean, you could look at it that way, right? So I think we're certainly living in a society where it's not just companies that are brands anymore. I think every individual is a brand, especially with how public we are on social media and a bunch of these different places. We're all a public figure. I think that's really the way to look at it. So if you want to go that route, then yes.
All right, what's the difference? Types of content. We have all social media, blogs, articles. How do we do that? I mean, do we run the same stuff on? Do I run the same stuff that on Facebook that I run on my newsletters, and the same stuff do we run on our web, or should it be different?
You can absolutely repurpose content, which is what I think you're talking about. So I'll give an example. So let's say that I'm writing a blog article about a new law or new legislation that's come out, and I'm putting it on a client's website. That article is going to also go into our social media, although we're going to obviously reformat it. We're going to change the wording. We're going to add hashtags, do what we need to do to make it appropriate and make it fit social media and do well there. But then we're also going to take that link to the blog and we're going to put that into a newsletter. So we might take the first couple paragraphs of that as an example and link back to it. So I think, when people get tripped up on content, there's really a lot of ways to repurpose the things that you're already doing.
Okay. Should you plan your content out in advance? I mean, for retail, all the holidays. Do you make up holidays too? It's like there's a National Hot Dog Day, there's a National Ice Cream Day. Right. How far should you advance plan? Or should you go week to week, or should you plan your schedule out 2 months, 3 months? What do you feel about it?
So that's totally dependent on your personal preference. If it's easier for you to use a digital calendar to plan out as far advance as you want, some people want to actually print out a month-to-month calendar, so you can go to your computer and print out a calendar from there. Maybe they want to handwrite on there. It's completely and totally up to you, and you can say, like, okay, this month, for example, we have National Hot Dog Day, and then on this day we're gonna do a Friday special, or I know I have this event coming up. So you can mark those into your calendar for the month. And then you can also know, okay, maybe on this day I have nothing going on, so I'm going to make a note here to maybe get a client testimonial or pull a quote or feature a special. I'm going to use the hot dog example, creating a hot dog. I'm going to show creating a hot dog. Maybe one day I'm going to do a contest for come up with the next hot dog, and we'll feature it for a month with your name on it, whatever it is, right? So all those things, you can certainly get really creative and post them, plan it far in advance. Although let's say you want to get content from a specific day. Let's say you're holding an event and you know, okay, I want to promote it before, and then on the day of the event, I want to get content there. You might not have your photos in advance of the event, right? Because you have to wait for the event to happen to actually get the patrons at your establishment to take the photos and the videos, but you can just make a note to do that.
We have the Seed School of Miami. We are so grateful for Misty's
Tiffany.
guidance and Miami Community Newspapers keeping our community informed. Thank you. Okay, some
They're
questions.
phenomenal. Hi, Tiff.
McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's.
Okay.
They are true experts. They just sell burgers, but they rewrap it like you go to McDonald's, they got the single, they got the double, they got the triple, and they got names for them.
Yes.
Burger King has the same thing. Wendy's has the same thing. That's true marketing because all it is a hamburger, but they keep remarketing.
Yes.
Excuse
Right.
me?
Essentially, yeah, it's just a hamburger, correct?
Right. And all of us sell certain things, so we have to keep branding. Okay.
Right.
What's the first step we should take to create content? What's our first step as a John Doe? Let's pick a business.
Okay.
Pick any business and let's discuss it.
Let's
A pool business.
Okay, a pool business. All right, we can
Grant
do that.
Miller's pools.
All right. So Grant Miller's pools, he wants to create some content. So number one to me always comes back to, and again, I know we've talked about this a couple weeks in a row, but it always comes back to what do I want people to know about my business? So maybe there's like a niche in the pool world, right? Like, so maybe you do, I don't know, I watch these TV shows of these crazy insane pools that people build. So maybe it's something like that, or it's like rock work, or it's your saunas, or whatever it is. So thinking about those niche things, I think so thinking about that, your brand and what you want people to know about you, and then combining that with frequently asked questions. So listening to people when they pick up the phone and they call you, or they text you, or they email you, or whatever it is, however you drive your leads and collect leads, what are those questions that they're asking you? Write them down, and then that can start to dictate content for you.
Okay, real quick, David Deal, Dustin Raven. Hey, by the way, Dustin Raven, he wants to know why aren't you eating at his restaurant? He told me that. We have Neil Schwabert, so a few people are watching. Okay, what tool? Oh, let's get to the pool business. So, about marketing. In winter time in Miami, what's the pool company should be marketing?
Oh, man. So
heated pools?
It could be heated pools. It could be saunas. It could be, oh my gosh, there's so many different things. The thing is, we have such nice weather here, right? So you can really use that outdoor area all year long. Maybe your pool has to come with some other kind of, I don't know, maybe you have like an outdoor barbecue area. Now, okay, so now I'm going to pitch doing fire pits, or now I'm going to accompany your pool, right? Because some pool companies will go above and beyond in that.
Well,
just the pool.
In Miami, not Miami, but the pool business and supplies sales are skyrocketing because people are traveling, so they're improving their pools.
Right.
So it's a perfect time to be marketing.
Right, and they're saying even in real estate, a lot of people are looking at backyards when they're making their home purchasing decision now as a part of
how big it is.
Yeah, exactly.
We just got Mitchell Panther, probably the number one marketer, the Panther and
San Pedro,
probably the best marketer in Dade County and involved with more than anybody else. All right, what tools can we use to plan our content? What do we need? What kind of tools?
What do you need? So that's a really big question. Again, it can be something as basic as a calendar that you print from your computer, where you're going to write out what it is that you're going to do. And then maybe you want to, or maybe you need to want to have a digital calendar, because we're talking about we want to have a content plan. So you have to have a space where you're going to control that and keep that out. It could even be a spreadsheet if you wanted, whatever works well for you. And then the second part is that you're going to need, obviously, to create the actual content. So some place to store the captions that you're coming up with, your hashtags.
What is hashtags? I still don't understand. What is a hashtag? Hashtag community newspapers. Does that drive them anywhere?
So it's used mostly on Instagram, Twitter. They are very popular, but they're not Twitter, we used to use them to drive traffic to your site. Now Twitter, more we're using them if we want to have a conversation about, let's say, like tonight there'll be people using heat bucks as a hashtag or some variation thereof to talk about the game.
If you put a hashtag, they click it, does it go anywhere?
Yeah, so well, we'll stick with the Twitter example. So if you click on, let's say, Heat Bucks Go Heat on the Twitter, like in your tweet, I mean, it'll take you to another page where you can see everybody who's also using that hashtag. And so essentially you can have a conversation about the game through people who are using
Thousands
the hashtags. Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Just let you know, Dave Arbetter, he must be watching you because you said hot dogs.
We're talking about
thank you. Miss Parker, we have Bill Hersman, one of the best sports people around, is watching. Who's watching on yours?
Oh, man, let me pull it up.
Why she's looking, how much time should we spend on creating content each week?
Oh, man. So, all right, wait. I got my husband was on here. I got Candace. I got Kristen. I got Ray. Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
I hope your husband's watching.
Yeah, well, he's at work, so I'm not sure how. Maybe it's his lunch break or something. So maybe he's still not watching. Anyways, so how much time should we spend on content? That again, you don't want to rush it. So ideally, you probably want to give yourself, if you're doing it by day, maybe it's 15 to 30 minutes a day. People might say, whoa, I don't have 30 minutes a day to plan on content. But here's why I say that. Because some days might take more time than others. That's why it's really good to plan it out ahead and have your calendar and at least an idea of what you want to post. Because the time-intensive part is creating those videos, is creating those graphics, is creating those captions, doing the hashtag research, all that kind of stuff that goes into it. So as much time as that's going to take for you, or you can obviously hire somebody to do it for you, but that's what takes the most time. So you probably, so that you're not rushing it, you want to give yourself probably like 30 minutes a day, 2 hours a week, however you want to break that up.
Hiring somebody outside your company is a huge advantage because they're not in the forest. They're looking from the outside in,
right?
And that makes a big difference.
Right.
Not that they should hire you, but they could hire anybody.
You can hire anybody who works with.
Yeah, but try to get somebody outside your circle because they look at things completely different.
Right. Yeah, they're going to bring an objective point of view. You might say something that you say all the time. This happens all the time, where they say it all the time, and I'm like, but wait, I didn't know that, and we can definitely, that means somebody else probably didn't know it, and we can use it as an educational piece, as an example of content. Oh, I didn't know that you did that. How many times do we hear that, right? I didn't know that you even did that.
Well, the content's important to keep people interested. Our hashtag is That's Community.
Uh-huh.
On all our Instagrams, That's Community.
I love it.
Yeah, so we do about 4 Instagrams a week. Speak about Instagram. You just don't know what gets results and doesn't get results. I mean, views. Mm-hmm. We did this thing on Pig Floyd.
Okay.
That
the
was
barbecue place, right?
Barbecue place. Uh-huh. That was on Sunday.
Okay.
By Monday, it was 5,000 views.
Wow. People love food and barbecue, and good barbecue at that.
Exactly. And when you do things like that, you got to make sure who's your audience, too.
Right.
And people like sharing food things.
Oh, my gosh, we love it. Like, I think people go to, it's sort of like a crazy world now when we're on the internet or we're using social media. There's so much, especially because it's an election year. There's a lot of back and forth. It's 2020. We know all those 2020 things that are going on. And so there's so much negative stuff maybe not negative, but there's a lot of...
Not something you don't agree with.
Yeah, like maybe there's something you don't agree with. A lot of emotionally charged things, we'll say, are being posted. So when you have something that people can connect with and feel good about, like food, it makes it really easy for people to want to interact with.
We have Elaine Dalve, who is probably the top journalist in South Florida on politics. But, Michael, hi. I got a question to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Talk about content. We did a story. You interviewed Dr. Almeida?
Oh, Mari Almeida, internist. And we talked about, he wanted to talk about some subjects. Said, let's talk about COVID and people dying and not wanting to go to the hospital.
Right.
There were 14,000 people that tuned in.
It's the topic.
Yeah,
yes.
Right away. So,
totally the topic.
And from our end, we do 30 Facebook Live shows a week.
Yeah.
And then we also do Instagram and newsletters, so we provide a lot of content. If
Yes.
we only provided one content, maybe we get more. So we're very happy, but you got to know what you're looking for. Okay, how can people create content that gets them results? And what
Right.
and what is results?
So results, again, depends on what it is that you're looking for. If you're using that piece of content just to generate leads, so maybe it's a piece of content that's going to go into an ad that you want people to click a buy button, for an example. How many of those people that are clicking on that, and then how many of those are actually converting into purchases? So that might be an example. Another example is, let's say that I'm going to use like more of a corporate. We've talked a lot about like a service-based business. So let's say that you're a law firm, and you're like, I don't know, how can I be creative as a law firm? There's actually not so much to be super creative and crazy, but maybe you can post about something that's a really trending topic around in the legal field that people are really interested in. And then what's going to happen is they will, let's say it's a blog, click to your blog, or it's a video, they're going to watch it. And those leads are a little bit hard, if that's what you're trying to do with that piece of content, are a little bit hard to quantify, because maybe you're not sending them to take a particular action. But what you are doing is building that name recognition, building trust, building credibility, coming top of mind, which to me is like in marketing, one of the number one things that you can do, be top of mind for what it is that you do.
Top of mind?
Top of mind. So like if someone says social media marketing, I want them to think Misty and Miss Inc., right? Like I want that to be the first thought they have, not a competitor. I mean,
But
that
isn't
would be an
that
advantage.
that's branding?
Yes. Yes, that's part of branding too, correct.
And I like top of mind. You have to do a lot of marketing. You have to be a lot of energy on your Facebook, Instagram, newsletters, web pages, correct?
Yeah, so
'Cause
you
all
want
this-
people to know what it is that you do, but in a way that it's tricky, because you want people to know what it is that you do, but in a way that connects with them, right? So if all you guys ever did was post like, hey, we're your local community newspaper, okay, great. But you guys are so much more than that. So you do segments like this, and you work with people in the community to show like we are the community. We're invested in the community,
Well,
right?
it's interesting because there's an ongoing debate what political parties Michael and Grant are.
Oh, gosh.
Because we have a lot of Republicans, we have a lot of Democrats that come on our shows, and it's tough because sometimes we make decisions, we support candidates that we think that's good for our community, and our business owners who advertise with us think different because we know what political party they belong to, and then our readers are different. So, but you have to make decisions in business what you stand for, like Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A
I
is
love
very clear.
Chick-fil-A.
Do you?
Oh, I just love it. He's not open on Sundays. He made a statement clear.
Right.
I'm going to lose a lot of money. But it's clear. Do you think he lost money? I think his sales will go up. People out of respect.
Yeah.
First of all, it gives employees the rotation, but it gives everybody, it's just incredible how he marketed that. And
Right.
He didn't do it for marketing. He did it, that's who I am.
Right. Right. And that's certainly a decision that you have to, I think, make in your business and be really comfortable with that. Like this is, and they say that too, right? Really be really clear about who you are and what the brand of your business is, and stay true to that. And it might turn some people off, but you might earn a lot of new clients or customers, and loyal ones at that, because they identify and they feel like, oh, okay, this is somebody who gets it and gets me, and we're on the same page, that type of stuff.
Correct. So, and I'm not telling anybody to get involved with the political parties because you're going to lose 50% of your business.
Probably.
Yeah, it's very dangerous, but if you're willing to do it, it's okay, because you might lose 50% of the population, but the population that you're recruiting to, speaking to, might spend more money with you.
True.
And business, there's an old saying, 3 things you don't talk about: politics, religion, and sex.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We have a rule. We don't talk about any of those things unless it's part of the client's brand. We just don't go there.
Okay, so I got a few more questions, but we got all this social media content, but if you're not part of the community, it hurts you. And you belong to how many organizations?
business organizations. I'm on Pinecrest Business, and in Chamber South, I'm also involved in Wild Bunch and some other miscellaneous
Wild
things
Bunch.
in
Is that
there.
the thing at the zoo?
That's the Young Professionals group of the Zoo Miami Foundation.
Right. So you're a small business, and you belong to 3 or 4 organizations.
Yes, correct. But because I know there's people that belong to a lot of them, but for me, I spend a lot of time in my business as well. So that means I don't have a ton of time to go out and network, and I'm not just gonna become a member just
Well,
to,
but I'm saying
I want to be involved.
You belong to 3 organizations. Your team.
Right.
So it's impressive. You have to be, because then it's easy to market because you're involved with those organizations. Just don't join an organization to join it. Just don't pay the fees.
Right.
Get involved. And now it's a little tough, but there's so many organizations that are so good. It doesn't have to just be a Chamber of Commerce or business association. You belong to the Metro Zoo Wild Bunch.
Yes.
There's,
Zoo Miami
it could be part of your church. It could be part of your temple.
Correct.
It could be part of your mosque. Anything.
Listen, I even do networking at the gym, right? I'm there all the time, so.
Oh, I do that too. I talk the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't work out. They have complaints about that to me.
They'll be like, hello.
Right.
Yeah, so you meet people, I think. That's why I was saying earlier, I think if you think of yourself as a brand, no matter where you are and what you're doing, not just your company, but you as the person, because the number one thing I always say is that people do business with people that they like. That's the way it is, right?
And if you're out there, whatever organization, get involved, be part of it. Okay, next question. I think we did. How do we create content that gets results? We already talked about that.
Yes, we talked about that.
What's the most impactful type of content right now?
I think.
Biden or Trump?
Oh,
no,
God. Don't make me answer that.
Okay.
Again, if that was part of your brand, great. Videos are really big. I know a lot of people are so shy about being on camera, but even if you're just showing something going on at your business and your face maybe not be on camera, but your voice is, people love that. So my clients will tell me all the time, nobody wants to see me, nobody wants to hear from me, but every time I'm able to get them to take a photo or video of them or their staff, I'm telling you, it does
I
the
agree.
best.
It's if you've got a company and you want to do a video, Alvin McRae, thank you for watching. He's a loyal watcher, reader, and very involved with the community.
Hello.
So even if you do a slight video, use your voice as the background.
Yeah, give it a
They
personal
gotta go.
connection to you.
I have people. I ran into somebody's kid who's 7 years old.
Okay.
The husband and wife were out somewhere, and the daughter goes, "Is that Grant Miller?" And I go, and the father goes, "Yes." And the father says, "What does Grant Miller say?" You know what the little 7-year-old said?
What?
"Grant Miller here."
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. So, So, point of is the
Well,
voice.
that's funny.
Yeah.
But that's what people connect with. I mean, we're humans. We have emotions. That's the psychology behind all of it,
So,
right?
about photos, a lot of people don't like it, but in the industry, in real estate, they all show the photograph. Correct?
Yeah.
Now, some of the photographs are 40 years old, but we won't get into that.
Right. Yeah, but I think if you're, for example, if you're a real estate agent, being comfortable talking about the market as an example might do better than just a canned graphic that maybe your brokerage just gives to you so you have something to post. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but the more personal that you can make things, the better. That's why stories, by the way, I think are so popular, because it really allows people to have, although, they're short snippets, they only last for 24 hours, but that allows people to see more
When
behind
you story
the
me on
scenes.
Facebook.
Instagram.
Facebook.
There's rumors that Twitter might come out with something like that. There's rumors that LinkedIn, which is launching stories in other countries, eventually will bring it to the United States. We don't know when, but we'll see.
It's funny you brought up LinkedIn. I don't put any video on there more than 40 seconds.
Okay.
And we did Redfish Grill on LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
LinkedIn, between the 3 sites, we had about 15,000 views
Wow.
of Redfish. So you don't know what works. I got singly, I have 10,000 members on my LinkedIn.
Wow, that's awesome.
And you have to work at it. You have to make sure you
work
do
on
it. And remember, only a couple % are watching everything you do anyway.
Right.
So
right.
we didn't talk about LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a business.
We haven't done that one. That one takes actually a lot more effort than people think.
Maybe in the next couple of weeks we'll talk about
Okay.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay, what content we talked about is most powerful?
Yeah, so I think Videos, stories, anything personal. Those are the big three.
Wait, the biggest mistake people make when they're creating content.
Oh man, so I think people. I think there's a few, but I think if you're rushing to create content just to put something out, that's not the way. Social media, those days are like a decade, like we're a decade away from being able to just post something and say, okay, that's great. Like, oh my gosh. Actually, when I first started doing social media marketing, we've been in business for almost 13 years now, and Facebook didn't even have Facebook pages yet. So when they launched the fan pages, businesses were actually sending out press releases to media saying, "Oh, we have a Facebook page now."
Wow!
I know. It was like there was a big deal back then. So, so it's funny how things have changed. But so I think now you really have to be just as personal as possible. And also the other mistake that I see people make is they might create a piece of content and have that same piece of content with the same emojis, the same wording, the same caption, the same hashtags, and they're going to take that and it's going to go on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and then it gets lost because it's not formatted properly for each individual network. So that's a huge mistake that I think people make. Just take the extra 5 to 10 minutes to post it individually and format it properly with the right hashtags and the whatever it is for that network, because each really is its own entity with its own audience.
What I'm finding out every day, my brother and I are finding out, really my brother, because he's really the one on top of it, it's changing so quickly.
Constantly.
Like Facebook just has been planning to change their look.
Yes, they have a new thing coming out.
Totally confusing.
Yes.
We just figured it out. So the question, this is not a question, maybe it's a statement. If you're not careful, you can spend too much money on social media. You have to plan it perfectly that you don't overspend for the results you get.
For ads, you mean?
No, I mean just results. You know, people say, well, I guess you could easily spend $1,000 a week on social media, whether
Yes.
paying for content, somebody entering it, somebody filming.
Right. Oh, easily, yes. Yeah.
Right. So
it's time intensive. It really is time intensive. But so that's a really good point. Thinking about being really specific with what it is that you're doing and your budget, and then monitoring it, but giving it a chance to run. Because like people will be like, oh, it's been a month and I have no results, I'm out of here. And that, a month is not really enough time. You have to test and measure and see what works. And
it could be the time it could be you might have a perfect marketing plan, and a hurricane hits.
Correct.
Or better, the hurricane's out there, or the COVID. You
Right.
know, but I'm going to get back to the COVID. The Seed has asked you and me, or not together, to visit the only public boarding school.
yeah, they are phenomenal. They just got a new campus. I haven't been to the new campus yet.
Tia, is she involved?
Yeah, well, she was. I don't know if she still is. I
She's
can
the best.
Tiffany can tell me.
She's
but
the best.
yeah, they're phenomenal over there. One of my best friends is the development director. That's
Who's
actually
that?
Probably her, Tiffany Graver Smith.
Oh, okay, good. Well, hello, Tiffany. Tiffany.
Tiffany.
Okay, so it gets costly, and you don't know the right answer to how much do you spend, how much do you not spend, and it's going so quickly, and you have to focus on things. But right now, there's Brickell Mazda.
Okay.
Sales are 100% higher than last year.
Wow.
I just know I ran into one of the big wheels there. The main owner of Brickell Motors, Mario, his photographs everywhere.
People know him.
Right. So you look at different dealerships, the newer dealerships. Well, back in the olden days, Gus Machado was on everything.
Everything. Oh my
And
God.
you walk into his Hialeah store, it's all Republicans.
Well.
He has paintings all the Republicans. So I say to him, Mr. Machado, what about the Democrat? Can you get one Democrat? He says, that's not my market.
Interesting.
He says he's a Republican. His market's to Republicans. So there's a guy who took advantage of it
Right.
and who became one of the most successful car dealers.
Even people who visited would be like, "Oh, Gus Machado Ford!" Like they know the slogan.
Correct.
Right.
So I'm gonna use car dealers. Some of the dealers, the general manager or the owner's faces are on it.
Right.
Like Mr. Williamson, his face is not on it, but he knows everybody. You walk into
Yes.
Williamson Cadillac. I want to speak to Mr. Williamson. Do you know him? No, I want to speak to Mr. Williamson. It's the reason is because he is very involved with his community.
Yes.
So you can have all that social media, but you
Yep.
still have to have a good brand.
Right. So I think when, and this is a common mistake that I think people make too, is we've talked about this before, I think, putting all their eggs in one basket, and really to maximize what it is that you're doing, to not just rely on, let's say, Instagram to sell your products, but being out there, talking to people about it, letting people know what you're doing, like total grassroots kind of stuff. That will really help amplify what it is that you're doing.
Okay, I know you're a full service marketing team.
Yes.
Do you also offer content service?
We do. Yeah. Thank you for asking that. We actually do. So what I think you mean by content is, we have clients, for example, that they don't want us to post the content for them. They want to do it on their own for whatever reason, but they get stuck on creating the content. So we will create the content for them, and they give it to them, and then they go ahead and post it and do their thing.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's like
There's nothing wrong with that.
You know, and the world's going by so quickly, you can't do it all.
Exactly.
You know, we talked about Facebook last night. Now we're talking last time, and the social media. I call it social media. What do you call it? Social media, web, Instagram, Twitter. You call it social media?
Digital marketing.
Digital marketing.
Yeah.
It's going by so quickly. We're just
Crazy.
we're just figuring out how to do Facebook Live.
Right.
You know, and we have between 60 and 70,000 people a week watch our Facebooks.
Yeah,
our live.
you guys have phenomenal
So, you know,
audience.
this is getting our word out quicker, and we appreciate it. It is Tia. There's a little comment from Seed.
Oh, see? So it's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Okay. Thank you, Tiffany. I'm glad you're paying attention. All right. We're going to wrap it up next week. Why don't you talk about next week? Because you're the host of your own
Yeah,
show. I am
next
out of the picture. Go ahead. Talk about
That's
next
kind of
week.
crazy. So next week, I actually have Renee Lopez Cantera from Icon Digital Marketing is going to come and join me, and they specialize in programmatic marketing and advertising. So she's going to explain more about what that is and how it can help you, especially in these times when everything is just more and more digital. We're just spending more time there because of the way things are going, right? So I'm really excited to talk to her. They do an awesome job. We work together for a few years now, and they're phenomenal. So I'm excited to welcome her tomorrow or next week.
Okay, I'm going to wrap it up. As a 7-year-old girl says, Grant Miller here! Miami Community Newspapers, thank you very much for having us.
We're out.